Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today's our lecture. Assalamu alaikum dear students. Today's our lecture is about the lipids, digestion and absorption. While we going towards this specific topic about the lipids, digestion and absorption, first of all we have to know about the introduction of the lipids. What is actually the lipids? Lipose means the fat. These are the fatty compounds, and these are the heterogeneous group of compounds that are insoluble in water and soluble in non-polar solvents. They are of many types. There is a many more classification of these lipids is very important for the understanding of the lipids. Lipids are of different types: simple lipids, compound lipids, and the derived lipids. Our diet contains almost all type of the lipids in the dietary products. They are insoluble in water and solubilize in the non-polar solvents. This is the major concern about the digestion and absorption of the lipids during the dietary sources, from the dietary sources. Simple lipids. These are the esters of fatty acids with alcohols. Similar form of the lipids, which is the major part of the dietary sources, are the neutral fats. These are the triglycerides. It contains the glycerol and the fatty acids. But in many of the simple lipids, the waxes are also present. These are the esters of the fatty acids with the high molecular weight of alcohols, aliphatic alcohols present in them. They are not the product of the dietary sources, but they are actually present in the different types of plants. So they have the no caloric value and they are not used in the diet for the dietary sources. But other waxes are synthetic types and contain the cholesterol, vitamin A, vitamin D, used as the laxative agents as the cathartic to enhance the peristalsis for the prevention of the constipations. Their role of waxes is actually the prevention of the constipation in the patients. In case of compound lipids, these are actually also the esters of the fatty acids with the alcohols, but it contains the other compounds as well, other charged or uncharged groups attached as the prosthetic group with these lipids to form the compound lipids. These are of many types, like the phospholipids, which contains the phosphate group as compared to the glycerol and the fatty acids. Then the other type is the glycolipids, which contains the sugars as their prosthetic groups, and the sulfolipids, which contain the sulfate groups as their prosthetic group. Sulfatides, gangliosides. These contains the different types of the N-acetyl numeric acid, galactose, glucose, N-acetyl hexosamine in their prosthetic groups. Lipoproteins, this contains the proteins as the prosthetic group, and they are also very important in case of the digestion and absorption. LDL, HDL and VLDL lipoproteins. Third type of the lipids is the derived lipids. Derived lipids derived from the simple and compound lipids. Actually, these are of many types, like steroids, and the most important example of the derived lipid is the cholesterol and agrosterol. These are also present in the dietary compounds, so they are be present in the dietary sources, and they are very important for the absorption of the lipids. Lipid vitamins, different types of lipid vitamins are also the type of the derived lipids, like the vitamin A, vitamin K, vitamin D and vitamin E. Although these are very important vitamins and they are lipid by nature, so they are very most important for the dietary sources as well. Different types of terpenes and prostaglandins and thromboxans are also the types of the derived lipids. They are, although they are no net importance in case of the digestion and absorption, but they are very important lipids and they have the many important roles in the body. We start now. We goes towards the digestion of the lipids first. Mostly our diet contains triglycerides, tricarboxylic, these are the compound lipids. These are the simple lipids which contains the glycerol plus fatty acids. During digestion, we have to remove the binding between the glycerol molecule and the fatty acid molecules, which is not very easy for the lipid molecules because the lipids are the heterogeneous group of compounds. It contains the, in case of the lipid bilayer, as you know, in case of the lipid bilayers, the lipids are comprised of two parts. One is hydrophilic head and the second one is the hydrophobic tail. This property of lipids help out the lipids for the digestion and also for the absorption of the lipids within the body. So this is a very important property of the lipids because they can be converted into the hydrophilic part become the head part and the hydrophobic part of the lipid molecules becomes the tail part, and it leads towards the heterogeneous compound, and this converted them into these two parts, and these two parts are very important for the digestion and absorption of the lipids. The first step in the digestion is the mouth, but mouth plays no role in case of the lipid digestion. The first step in the digestion of the triglycerides and phospholipids begins in the mouth as lipid encounter the saliva. But this is not properly done by any type of enzymes. It's just the chewing of the materials enables the digestive enzymes to do their task. In the mouth, in case of mouth, only the chewing occur, and due to the chewing, the digestive enzymes are easily accessible to these molecules to be broken down. The first enzyme is the lingual lipase. First enzyme is the lingual lipase. First enzyme is the lingual lipase. lingual lipase. It acts as the emulsifier with phospholipids. It acts as the emulsifier agent This lingual lipase, with the help of the phospholipids, act as the emulsifier agent, and it initiates the process of the digestion. These actions cause the fats to be more accessible to the digestive enzymes. As a result, the fat become the tiny droplets and separate from the watery compounds. By the action of this lingual lipase, the fat is converted into the tiny droplets and separated from the watery components. Then the next part, from the mouth. This occurs in the mouth. Then after the mouth, the digestion goes towards the stomach. In case of stomach, the gastric lipase is used for the breakdown of the triglycerides into diglycerides and the fatty acid. It breaks the triglycerides, triacylglycerols into the diacyl. It converts into the diacylglycerol plus free fatty acid. It converts by the action of this. This is converted into diacylglycerol plus free fatty acid into free fatty acids. Almost 30% of triacylglycerols are converted into diacylglycerols and free fatty acids by the action of the gastric lipase, and also the stomach churning and contractions help to disperse the fat molecules, while the diglycerides derived in this process act as the further emulsifier. They also act as the further emulsifiers. However, even amid all of this activity, very little fat digestion occurs in stomach also. Only the 30% of the dietary triacylglycerols are converted into diacylglycerols and free fatty acids. Then the fat breaking enzymes work on the triglycerides and diglycerides to serve fatty acids. Then the digestion goes towards the intestine, small intestine. The next organ for the digestion is the small intestine, where the present triglycerides, triacylglycerols and diacylglycerols, diglycerides, both are by the action of the intestinal lipase is converted into free fatty acids. Yet again another hurdle presents itself. Fat pass through the watery layer of the mucus that coats it breaks down the fat into the free fatty acids in the small intestine, but not completely done. Now the problem is there that now this diacylglycerol and triacylglycerol are converted into diacylglycerol plus free fatty acid. Similarly, diacylglycerol is converted into glycerol plus free fatty acids. As we know that the mucus is also the watery component of the mucus is hurdle for the absorption of these free fatty acids and glycerols also. So the next hurdle is also very hazardous for the absorption of these lipid molecules properly into the body. For coming down of these, the myceli formation is occurred in the small intestine. These molecules which are digested by the intestinal enzymes are now form the myceles. And this myceles formation is helped out by the bile salts. In case of the myceles, the property of the lipids in which they are converted into the formation of head molecules are pointed out towards the exterior part. And the interior part is these are the myceles in which the hydrophobic part is pointed out towards the interior and the head part is pointed out towards the exterior part of this myceles. And here the bile salts are attached, which helps these myceles for the absorption. These are formed from the fatty acids plus diacylglycerols. With the help of the bile salts, they are easily be absorbed by the body. Myceles have the fatty acid core with a water soluble exterior. This allows efficient transportation to the intestinal microvillus, and here the fat components are released and disseminated into the cells. into the cell of the digestive tract lining. Just as the lipids require special handling in the digestive tract to move within a water-based environment, they require similar handling to travel in the bloodstream. Inside the intestinal cells, the monoglycerides and the fatty acids reassemble themselves into the triglycerides. These triglycerides combine with the cholesterol and phospholipids and form the lipoproteins when joined with a protein carrier, and these lipoproteins have an inner core that is primarily made up of the triglycerides and the cholesterol esters. The outer envelope is made up of the phospholipids interspersed with proteins and the cholesterol. Together they form a chylomicrons. Now this is the important part of the bile salts are used for the easily digestion of these lipid molecules in the aqueous environment of the digestive tract, and it help out these digested molecules in the form of muesli to pass out through these watery components to this watery environment into the intestine, and then from the intestinal lining the absorption is occur. In case of the absorption, now goes towards the absorption of the, we are focused now about what is done in case of the absorption of lipids. As we know, there is a problem between the hydrophobic nature of the lipids and the hydrophilic and the aqueous nature of the bloodstream, and also this is the same hurdle which is present during the digestion. The absorption is also very hazardous due to this presence of the hydrophobic nature, lipid molecules and the hydrophilic environment of the bloodstream. So this can be easily passed out or bypassed due to by the formation of the lipoproteins. They are absorbed by the from the small intestine as lipoproteins. Now diacylglycerols plus fatty acids assembled to form triglycerides, and then these triglycerides combined with cholesterol plus phospholipids from the dietary sources which are not digested, and form the lipoproteins. Lipoproteins contains the inner core in which in case of lipoproteins, the inner core contains triglycerides plus cholesterol esters. The outer core of these lipoproteins contains phospholipids plus proteins, which helps these molecules to be absorbed within the body in the cell membrane easily. These lipoproteins, when joined with the protein carrier, these lipoproteins help out to be released into the bloodstream via the jugular vein in the neck. Chylomicrons transport food fats perfectly through the body's water-based environment to the specific destinations such as the liver and the other body tissues. Cholesterol is very poorly absorbed when compared to the phospholipids and the triglycerides. Cholesterol absorption is aided by, again, increase in the dietary fat components and is hindered by the high fiber content. This is the reason that a high intake of fiber is recommended for the easily absorption of is recommended to decrease the blood cholesterol level. Foods high in fiber such as the fresh fruits, vegetables and oats can bind bile salts and cholesterol, preventing their absorption and carrying them out of the colon. So if our diet contains the fibrous material more in the dietary components, it helps out to be the absorption of to reduce the absorption of the cholesterol as well as the bile salts. And because these two molecules are only required for the emulsification of the compounds and they are not to be needed to be absorbed by the body. If the high blood cholesterol level is high, it leads towards the heart attack or different types of other problems of heart related. So that's why we must have to be reduce this cholesterol level in our diet, and we can be reduce the absorption of the cholesterol within the body by adding up our diet with the fibrous content in it. That's all about the lipid digestion and absorption. If you have any questions regarding this digestion and absorption topic, you may approach me on my email address, or you can write your questions in the comment section of the YouTube channel, or you can email me on my email address, or you can WhatsApp me by your questions for related to this topic. I hope so you have clearly understand this topic, lipid digestion and absorption. Although this is the not very confined digestion and absorption process as compared to the carbohydrates and proteins, which are very defined by the different types of enzymes are present in the diet that is used for the digestion and absorption of these molecules. But the beauty of the nature is that although the more enzymes are not present which is used for this digestion, but the digestion and absorption mechanism is very much beautiful. It makes the different types of emulsifying droplets, lipid droplets, which then converted into the micelles, and these micelles are then converted into the lipoproteins for the absorption by the body into the different organs. So this this is a very important for the lipid digestion and absorption, but not confined to this one. We should have to be include in our diet the fibrous contents, because this is very important to lower down the cholesterol level in the bloodstream. As we know that bile salts are also very important because they use as the emulsifying agents, and they bind on the myceles, and it is important for the myceles formation, and it also furnish the digestion of the lipids in the small intestines. So thank you so very much, students. If you have any questions regarding this topic, you may please approach me on my email address, or by giving me comments in the my YouTube channel, and also by approaching me on my WhatsApp. Thank you so very much. Allah Hafiz.